Good afternoon. It's Sean Gillen from Stansberry Research. And I'm here with Michael Kimelman, who gave one of the most provocative talks that we've had. He is a partner of Crypto.IQ. The title of your talk today was Prison, Money, Power, and Politics. You bared your soul. I'd heard a little bit about your story. I had no idea. Absurd. I'm glad you're here with us.
Thank you.
And you talked a lot about what you've learned over incredible 10 years and wasteful processes. And let's talk about your idea that micropayments are the future, instant, secure, and just getting away from the old way of doing things.
Think about how many things we want to do today, but we can't do it because of either Visa or MasterCard or these other gateway fees, whether it's the bank. I told a little story briefly about, wanting to wire my own money to Singapore, and it took 3 days. They charged me $50 for that privilege. But if you think about micropayments and, publishing or anything else, music, rather than having to buy a whole newspaper, a whole album, or anything else, there's still a level where we can't buy something because the fees are going to be higher than the actual product. But through Bitcoin and blockchain, you can eliminate those fees altogether.
And the fees, as I've read, last year it does $86 billion. Ring a bell?
The fees? Yeah.
In fees.
The fees are enormous. And that's just the actual fees, not the opportunity cost of all these other businesses that can be unlocked if we didn't have those types of fees.
I love one of the lines you used, and I forget who the quotation is from, but it said, "It's not the currency, it's what you can get with it." And who was that?
Adam Smith, more or less.
Maybe
Paraphrasing.
Maybe you've heard of him, John.
Yeah.
So with cryptos, and you're concerned about innovation here, where's the innovation happening around the globe?
The innovation is happening here a bit, but it's being suppressed and suffocated by regulatory uncertainty. The SEC still hasn't given you a clear vision of what can be done and how to do it. So you look at what happened to me. Is somebody going to risk that type of outcome, or are they going to move to Singapore or Switzerland, where they're literally rolling out the red carpet for this type of technology and for the brains associated with it?
We're 10 years since the financial crisis. Anything changed? Crony capitalism?
To a degree, yes. There's more information out there, and there are more people doing work and trying to shine a light on it. But for the most part, if you're one of the protected elite class, there's this sort of American oligarchy that's more or less royalty, they can do no wrong.
Right.
And everybody else is judged by a different standard. So that hurts.
I want to talk a little bit about Bitcoin and blockchain. I know a fair amount about blockchain. Bitcoin remains a mystery. Talk a little bit about their 21 million coins, what it's worth, $6,200
Sure.
now, which is an extraordinary amount of money. We all know it went to 20,000. Not to put you on the spot, but 10 years down the road, what could it be worth?
10 years down the road, and again, I don't like prognosticating, but
I do.
It should be worth multiples of where it is now.
Okay.
If it continues down the path of development and what we can do with it, and it becomes sort of a moderate success, it'll be worth 20, 50x what it is now. If it becomes what it possibly could be, which is either a peg, like a currency board or possibly even a priced new world reserve currency, and now I sound crazy, of course, but depending on where we go with it, the technology is literally going to change everything. And people get very confused, and I'm sorry for carrying on here for a minute.
No, please.
But like Dennis Gartman said, and I respect Dennis tremendously, the people who say, I love blockchain, but I don't like Bitcoin, haven't done the work and don't really understand. Bitcoin is blockchain. Bitcoin is the technology. Money is just the first app of that technology. It's like saying, I love Google, I just don't like this internet protocol. One really doesn't exist without the other.
I mean, perfect answer. All right, so let's talk a little bit about blockchain. To be able to track your food, your pharmaceuticals, trading stocks, bonds, commodities, currencies, and then you talked about voting, where it is a clear and defined ledger that's been measured by 10,000 users who blessed the process. And I mean, talk a little bit about the voting aspect and where we are now with midterms and a lot of battles.
We still have, and it's unclear to what extent, but the fact that there's voting fraud or that you don't need an ID to vote when you need an ID to check out a library book or anything else. I mean, I remember voting last time or going to the booth just to see if I was still on the rolls, because remember, I was a convicted felon, and I have a lot to say about, you know, the justice side of regaining the right to vote after you've served your time and whatnot. But I wanted to see if I was on the rolls, and I was on the rolls no problem. And yet my ex-wife was missing. So there's still tremendous inefficiency and fraud, for lack of a better term, that goes on that we could change. And I think it's important. I think everybody agrees the political process is important and that we should have the people voting who are entitled to vote. I don't see how that's controversial.
Another thing you talked about towards the end of your conversation with us today, deficit and debt exploding, how to protect your portfolio. And you did say, and I found this fascinating, that China has tried to ban cryptocurrencies 4 times.
Yes.
And how's that going for them?
It doesn't work because it's decentralized. So if there's one person somewhere running a node, you can't really shut it down. It's not a centralized item that's easy to just flip a switch. And that's why it's powerful for dissidents or protesters or people in repressive regimes, because you can't. You used to just be able to flip off the internet. You can't do that anymore. So debt and deficit, again, we've given up on it. So at this point, you know, 1994, I think the contract with America was the last time we even tried to do something. And for just cutting the rate of growth, not actually cutting anything, you know, you were basically drinking the blood of children. So the media has made it to the point where it's politically unpalatable to even try to have some fiscal conservatism. You'll get voted out. You can't do it. It's my old high school civics teacher used to call it the chocolate milk in the water fountain problem, which is whoever makes the grandest promises, says there'll be chocolate milk in the water fountains, is going to get elected. And that's basically the society we've become.
Well, you had said trains, cars, airplanes, internet, cryptos.
Yeah.
I mean, it all dovetails. A guy that I went to high school with, he ran and won on the platform of vote for Duff and nobody gets hurt. But, hey, a pleasure to be with you. Learned a lot. And
Great to see you,
thanks
John.
for everybody at Stansberry.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thanks.
If you're enjoying these videos, don't forget to press the like button. Comment down below. And if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe. And remember to click that bell to be sure you don't miss out on our newest updates. And thanks a lot.